Christmas time, I took a trip to visit my mom. My mom had to stay with a friend and ended up living with Nika and her two sons. When I went there, it made me cry to see the conditions that this 3-year-old boy was living in. I found out that on a regular basis that her son was locked in an upstairs bedroom with all of the windows covered with blankets in a pitch-black room for sometimes 15 hours at a time, only being let out long enough to eat some crackers or etc. and locked right back in the room. I went upstairs when I got there because I could hear screaming coming from that same room. I broke into the room to find the darkness that was really hard to see through. They had even removed the light bulb so that he couldn't accidentally turn the light on. They were keeping him in a crib, and he's 3, and being tall enough to jump out of it, but not quite. I walked up to the crib to find him acting like some kind of animal, trying to get out of a cage. Steve, when he saw me, he was pretty much willing to throw himself out of the crib and hit the floor to get to me. I went up and he was wearing a full pajama suit, and the entire thing was covered with urine. It was terrible, beyond terrible. There were weeks' worth of ripped up diapers around his crib where he was ripping the diapers off himself and literally shredding them. Even his mattress was shredded where the boy had gone almost insane trying to get out. They even moved the crib because he ripped the entire door handle off trying to escape. I immediately got him out and I called the police. They came and were very upset and took a report. They told me to call Children's Services on Monday and file a report. Well, needless to say, I did, but nothing happened. I called again and again and again, and no one would do anything about it. Her son screams every time you change his diaper because of the horrid diaper rash from the many, many hours of not being changed. He can barely speak and is 3 years old. Steve, they've even left him alone many times, and he's gotten a hold of metal objects and stuck them in electrical sockets. He's nearly killed himself twice, and once he was completely white and shaking and received absolutely no medical treatment. He is sick often and is not cared for. Steve, they will go for days and days without feeding this child. He is constantly being screamed at and never talked to. She, the mother, will abandon him for hours and just assume that somebody will take care of him. No one seems to care. The mother of these kids has no plans on changing her ways, it seems, and every time she is questioned, she lies through her teeth constantly, and people believe her, because no one knows the horror these innocent children suffer on a day-to-day basis. It's eating me up inside because I feel like I've done all I can. I'm afraid for the lives and safety of these children. Please help, Steve. I just don't